Peace. Back at you again, Brother Farrell. Contact information is below. Send me an email if you want to build on information. Once again, this is a response to a lot of others that are talking about Moors, what a Moor is, what a Moor isn't, what it means. I've even heard brothers say it's a catchphrase. I've heard people say it's not a nationality. We've heard it's not this, it's not that. It means black, which is not true. So here to explain what a Moor is. I'll be reading from various information that's been out there for 100 plus years, even more than that. But I'll be reading from what's called the Moorish Compilatory, Volume 1 and Volume 2. You can order that book through Brother Asir Dukateers. You have to go to House of L at gmail.com. That's the House of L, E-L, at gmail.com. And to order the Moorish Compilatory, Volume 1 and Volume 2. I'll also be reading from what's called the oldest book in the world that was put out by Alim Bey years ago. We're talking like 35, 40 something years ago almost. Um, Maybe 30 something years ago, something like that. But rest in peace, Alim. He's no longer around. So we're going to get started with what specifically is a Moor, because there's just so much misinformation about what a Moor really is. And this is coming from a lot of the Moorish information that a lot of you have not been privy to. And some of you have been privy to it, and you're choosing to ignore what it really is for other reasons that are not cool. So, what specifically is a Moor? Is original Homo sapien um, being, spirit and soul, and or it's the ones that descend from the original Homo sentient being. So, um, the original Homo sapien sentient bloodlines as well. Now, melanin does play a pivotal part in one being a Moor, but everything that has life has a certain percentage of melanin. Plants have melanin. Everything that lives has melanin. Melanin is dope, man. It's actually an intelligence of its own. So when you get into melanin, and when you also get into the science of melanin, which I encourage people to look into, um, forget the brother's last name. His first name is Richard. I think Richard King put out books years ago on melanin and the whole nine. Bobby Hemmett used to talk a lot about melanin. Um, Take a look into the study of melanin, and you'll because that's basically what activates the pineal gland. All this stuff is important in the definition of a Moor, because a Moor's pineal gland is not calcified. So, with going back to this, we kind of got to be careful today about saying it specifically has something to do with complexion, because that's a trick. Okay, when you talk about a Moor being all dark-skinned people, that's really not it either. Okay, it can be, but a lot of things come down the bloodline, and melanin has this way of showing itself sometimes in features first, and in complexion is the obvious. That's the last and the most obvious, but sometimes it's features like noses, lips, um, etc., bone structure, etc. So I'm going to continue on with this. So we're talking about um, when we talk about Moor, like I mentioned, it's not always based upon what we call complexions of the modern day, but ancient humans. I'm going to use the word human, which I'm just using it because that's the word people use. Human has a negative connotation, and it has a positive one, depending on how you're using it in the context. But I'm going to use that word because that's what people are used to. So when you talk about the original human or human, you're talking about 0 to 9 complexions of copper, burnt brass. We're going to complexions of olive, red, what we call red bone. Now, the term tawny Moors, that's a recent term. Tawny Moors, okay, that's recent. because at a certain time, you only had various complexions of people. You didn't really have what you would call um, pale people in the sense of complexion being referred to as pale. Pale basically means an appearance. It really means weak or feeble. It really didn't have to do with complexion. We're misusing that word today in the sense of complexion. But you didn't have pale people at a certain period in time in history. You had 0 to 9 complexions, the sentient, Homo sapien, sentient being of spirit. So for the most part, um, the makeup of the original sentient being was about 9 different complexions, 0 to 9 different complexions. Now, specifically, and that was specifically during antiquity. So you want to talk about ancient times, right? We would say pre-Tartaria for those who are familiar with Tartaria. So pre-Tartaria, old world Tartaria at its peak. So the distinctions in what you would call the sentient beings, the distinctions were pretty much either features or eye color, hair color in certain cases. So you really couldn't tell what someone really was until they spoke. It was the language and the tongue that you could determine what they were or where they were from. And then you still had to deal with the average um, person, so to speak, at the time spoke about 4 to 6 different languages. So then you had to find out what their original tongue was. So to continue with this, Mu or Moor is also the original landlords of the Earth plane realm. So the Moor or Moor precedes all man-made religions, ideologies, societies, and philosophies. A Moor or Moor holds to the high knowledge and wisdom of the science of all, or the I am. And of course, the I am is one of the symbols in the I Self Law and Master. The I am is one of the symbols that the Moorish Science Temple used in that acronym. So, after or during a cataclysmic event that covered the 7 known continents, and you see the 7 over here, I pointed out before, that 7 is pretty heavy. The 7 known continents, because there's more continents out there. So we're going to stick with the 7 known continents, right? So there was a cataclysmic event that covered the 7 known continents. Not all of them, but the majority of them. Some of them were not touched, but the majority of them were. You had the great waters, the great freeze, and then the earth plane was altered, and thus a new being began to appear or was made. So now you're having something appear, and that being was known as mankind. Not man, but mankind, which is a kind of a man, because it really wasn't the original. So during this time frame, when the earth plane, the 7 known continents in the realm in certain places, went through a cataclysmic event and the weather began to change, um, at a certain point in history, at a certain point in the old world, in the ancient times, it didn't rain. Just a mist arose from the earth to water everything. It never rained. Snow is something that's not ancient, even though you may see it in certain books. Some of those books were written recent, and they're just backdating the information, trying to make it look like it's older. But there was a lot of things that didn't happen with the weather. And in ancient times, that was a symbol to the people, the original people, that when the weather began to change drastically, they knew that there was a new shift happening. And most of this was done by, even a cataclysmic event that occurred, was something that was done by what you would call man. They were doing things that they shouldn't have been doing for whatever purpose that caused these changes. But after the cataclysmic event, then you begin to see a new being appear. And you would say that being was very, very bright, in complexion with green eyes, not all the time blue eyes, different color eyes, different color. Now, this could have been something that could have been, like I say, made, but it was beginning to appear. And it wasn't that long ago. This is what's going to, when we really get into this, the science of everything, you're going to see that a lot of dates and times and things have been made up and changed to throw everything off. So it wasn't very long ago. Here, I would suggest that you look into what's called the orphan trains of the 1850s, and then look into what's called the incubators of the early 1900s, even though that was being done in the late 1800s. So we're going to move on. Now, this is not hate. So when we get down to melanin and we get down to things like the brunettes, like a lot of people you see, a lot of Moors I've listened to and other people, they like to classify people as Europeans and hybrids and the Albion. And a lot of times they're making completely wrong analysis. Because when you see someone with brown hair and brown eyes, that's the stamp of the Meur Mo ancestry, the brown hair and the brown eyes. Not only the ancestry, but that's basically, that's melanin in there. All right, so we got to be careful about the whole complexion thing and about the Albion and the hybrid, on and on. You got to be careful about that, because there's things now that look just like you, but it's not you. It's not related to you. It's not original. It comes out of a laboratory, but it looked just like you. Same complexion you got, your beautiful brown complexion or copper colored. So you got to be careful on all of this these days. There was a certain point in time they had to be careful as well during the cataclysmic, when things started to shift and change. Some people walking around that wasn't really you. They wasn't down for you either. So you got to be careful about that, right? And this is why Drew Ali said Moors should love and not hate. Right? Come to teach you to love and not hate. So let's continue on. After this came many other kinds of man, and then distinctions had to be made between what you would call, I'm just using the words loosely, man and human, and Homo sapien, sentient beings. Now the distinctions had to be made. At one time, it didn't. Because when you saw something different, you knew it was different right off the bat. Even if it was walking upright, you knew it wasn't you. All right? But distinctions needed to be made. So now a Moor or Muur is still considered the original of those that descend from the Homo sapien, sentient being. The Moor Muur also adheres to what's called heraldry, honoring the ancient ways of their mothers and fathers. Now, I want to point this out to you about a Moor and some things here about complexion. So Adolf Hitler, the master race is referred to by Adolf Hitler. They were really an ancient copper complexion people. They were dark-skinned people with brown hair and with blue eyes and blonde hair. You ever notice how they just happen to leave out the complexion of the people when they talk about Hitler? He talks about the Aryan race or the master race, or the blue-eyed, blonde-haired people, but they never say what complexion, because they were copper-colored people with blue eyes and blonde hair. You've never seen a real picture of Adolf Hitler. And the one they show you, he has brown hair and brown eyes. So why would he say the master race had blue eyes and blonde hair? He don't. A lot of the Germans didn't. Some of them did, but a lot of them didn't. They've lied to you about everything concerning Adolf Hitler. After 1945, history was rewritten concerning the whole war. Everything was rewritten. That was a reset then, after that war. So you can look that up too. There's videos out there about Adolf Hitler and about, you got to dig deep to find them, but they're out there, and it's pretty good information too. So, but Hitler was also referring to the descendants of Mu. Now, I did another response to a gentleman by the name of Chief El Ra. It was an Instagram video he put up. I made a comment in one of his videos. It was a decent video. I just made a quick comment, probably giving him praise for the work he was doing. And then all of a sudden, he decided to attack because I mentioned the Moors. And he went on this whole Moors is not this, and Lemuria is made up. And the gentleman that made up Lemuria was a guy by the name of Philip L. Slater. So pull up the video that I did, response to Chief El Ra. You can find it on the Chadagi. It's be on YouTube. It's about, I don't know, maybe 50 minutes long. But yeah, I let him have it. So Philip L. Slater was a fraud. He was another secret handshaker that was responsible for hiding information. And also pointed out a few things in there about the word Moor to Chief El Ra, who's also rocking a Moorish name, by the way. Three of them. So, yeah, I did respond to him, but you need to check that out on Moor and Lemuria, because a lot of people are saying that, oh, they got this from Philip L. Slater, who wanted to find out a way to, Lemurians and the monkeys, the lemurs, and yeah, I kind of let them have it in that. But you need to check that out. So we'll continue on with the word Moor. We talked about Hitler and what was called the Vril Society. Now, there's several things the Vril Society were doing. They were also heavy into what's called meditation and astral projection, leaving the body. This was through Adolf Hitler's Vril Society and communicating with other beings, so to speak. But nevertheless, he was referring to the Vril, which means two different things. There's the being, the Vril, and then there's also the Vril Society, who were astral projecting and heavy into meditation and the whole nine. But the people of Mu, these people were called Moorians, later called Lemurians, and of course, last called Moors. But when you go back to Lemuria, the continent of Mu, which also at one point was connected to the Americas, it still may be out there. Like I said, there's other continents. We can get into that conversation as well if you want me to handle the other continents, known and unknown. I did touch on that in response to Chief El Ra too. But you're talking about ancient Atlanteans, also referred to as Moorians or Lemurians. Basically, it was called Moorians and Mu, and the L came in later. But so this is where the word originated from, and this is ancient time. If you want to go back to the time to when what you would call we were at our peak, firing on all cylinders, of course you got to go back to Atlantis, and even the other realms of that as well. So Moor's not a modern word. They're telling you it is, but it's not. And this is one of the things they're really trying to hide. They've done a great job at it. But there's a lot of people now that's dropping bombs showing you that it's ancient. Okay. Even if you want to say 711 AD and the Moors out of Morocco, if you want to rock with all of that, because that's all you can find, let me mention something else to you. You ever read about Hannibal? Now, that's supposed to be 330, 325 BC, where they're mentioning the word Moors. We know they changed the calendars too, though. And Hannibal was also called the Phoenician, which the Phoenician was basically just a different sect in the area of the same people. But you read about the Moors and Hannibal and Hamilcar and Hanno and the whole nine. So, by the way, and that some of that took place in the Americas, just so you know. But let's continue on. We talked about Mu. Mu was also Lemurians and Atlantis were the same ancient peoples and civilizations. And basically, when you talk about the Atlanteans and the Lemurians or the Moorians, or the Mu or the Moors, you're just dealing with two nations that basically split at one time. So when one says Moor or Muur, they are claiming the ancient Atlantean as well. In those civilizations, there was also um, a society known as the Great White Brotherhood. And there's been books that's written on the Great White Brotherhood. But we know the term white has nothing to do with complexion, just like black. It's a status. So don't you find it interesting that a lot of the Moors already know this, that's been in the Moor Science Temple. But when you look at some of Drew Ali's writings, and he has a book that's talking about the Great White Brotherhood, but they actually go back to Atlantis, to where they was the ones who governed most of the ancient world, because Moors are landlords. It's supposed to be governing this thing, all right? The 7 known continents, and probably even outside the ice walls, probably even some other places. So I want to continue back. So when we talk about um, the word white and the word white have 2 different meanings. Okay, so the word WHITE, that's a status. The word WIGHTE, that's a ghost or someone is considered to be unfortunate. Spelled 2 different ways. You have white status and you have WIGHT, which is a ghost or being, and it means something that's unfortunate. So pale skin, once again, pale skin is not ancient. When we talk about the complexion of being the lack of complexion, that's not ancient. And once again, specifically the kind of skin that burns easily when exposed to sunlight, that's not ancient. That's something that recently came around, probably in the mid 1800s. And even the bloodline of those people that burn easily, that's something that's new on the earth realm. This is not hate, so don't go there. A lot of people that we classify as white people, they ain't been around very long. Now, what I'm doing here is, a lot of you gonna get mad. You're gonna say, "Oh, that's hatred, all this stuff." Nope, that's not hatred, because I'm letting you motherfuckers off the hook. Because you ain't been long, or you haven't been around long enough to cause as much damage as everybody's accusing you of doing. You're new. So when we talk about ancient Greeks was really ancient Greeks. Creek in Greek is the same word. Some of you chiefs out there that are talking about foreigners and foreign nations, you have no idea, no concept of what's called the exotic map of the Americas. You don't know that a lot of places that you think were overseas were actually here first, like the territory of France and Spain and Iberia and Al-Andalusia and Transylvania, Croatia, Russia. Okay, those places were in the Americas first. So once again, just letting you know, the pale skin that's something that's recent. So when we start talking about Moor, it's kind of important to know that. Remember, I said though, you don't get on your high horse too quick when I say stuff like that, because we got to be careful. But as we go on, we do not see very, very, very many pale-skinned people in our day and time today. We don't see that. Mid 1800s, they saw it and it shocked a lot of people. Even before that, we don't see that today. A lot of the people we see have some sort of complexion. So when you see it, it will. I heard from some other people there's what's called leper colonies on certain islands, where when you see these people, leper, Leper, leper colonies, leprosy, like white as snow. When you see these people, it shocks you because they are extremely white and have to wear thick sunglasses. So, but we don't see very many people like that. And as I mentioned to you before, pale also has a second meaning. It means weak or feeble. So even I can look pale if I look like I'm weak or feeble or not feeling well, right? Grandma used to say, "You look pale." How can I look pale if that means white? So it has 2 meanings. But anyway, And it's interesting because when Drew Ali mentioned um, Europeans, and other people have mentioned the pale nations of Europe, but we know that Europe, Albion, um, another word can't think of right now, but we know that was ran by melanated people as well for a long time. The lighter skinned people pretty much just got a hold of that, and I don't think they even still run it today. But so when they talk about the pale nations of Europe, it doesn't mean complexion, because it means weak or feeble in how they deal with other nations, like not honoring treaties and honoring their word. That shit is weak and feeble. If you always got to try and get over on somebody, that's weak and feeble, right? You always got to lean on somebody. Weak or feeble. So it refers to a general mentality, attitude, or behavior. The manning and dealing with other nations are weak and feeble in actions, not standing or committing to promises or agreements. That's basically the mentality of what you would call pale nations. Now, or the pale nations of Europe. And even when we talk about Europe and exotic map, the word Europe and Queen Europea was the Iroquois princess. She wasn't an African princess. She was an Iroquois princess. And we can break down her name later on for you. So that was over here. The Iroquois princess called Europea. Mu is also a vibration and frequency of Om, the science of linguistics and languages. Moor and Muur, the term. The word requires no forced breathing. It flows freely from the lips, and you lose no breath. The original ancient languages all use words of vibrations that flowed frequently from the lips, formerly known as Moorish Latin. So it's interesting that a lot of people don't know that Latin were 7 languages. 7 languages come out of Latin. But that language was called Moorish Latin. And they dropped the Moor. But the foundation language is, like I say, it's at least 7 other languages come out of Latin. But brother Phil Valentine, big ups to Phil Valentine as well. He's been out here doing it for a while on a metaphysical level. Where would we be without that brother? You know, he don't get enough props at all, especially with his work for the Wounded Womb. So Moors, if you don't have the Wounded Womb, you need to go read it. And everybody needs to read the Wounded Womb. That's a must read. But Phil also mentioned one of the languages that was spoken in ancient times is called Tetragrammaton, and that's basically a fire language that was one of the languages of the Atlanteans or the Lemurians or the Moorians or the Moors, which was Tetragrammaton. Tetragrammaton, and it's a fire language. So basically, when you speak certain things, it happens, because you're putting it right out there with the ethers, and you're making them ethers go do what you need to get done. So these are languages that we've lost over the years, or we've been hidden, or perhaps somebody knows it and they need to come bring it back to us. But now Lemuria and the Atlanteans as Lemurians, the Earth is an eternal plane that contains, like I said, other continents. We talk about the barriers of Antarctica, the 7 known continents located inside the ice walls. And the symbol of the circle 7 basically is an ancient symbol of it's an ancient symbol, but of course the Moor Science Temple uses it. A lot of people use the 7. But this is basically high science. It also represents what we're on as well. So the 7 continents plus the ice walls, you see the 4 breaks in the circle as well. And it has also another esoteric meaning too. So that 7 is pretty deep. Moors, were also known as navigators. Another meaning for the word moor is navigate. Like if you moor your ship, you're mooring your ship through a canal or in a lake. It can refer to some as docking or anchoring or navigating, depending on how you use the word. But it also means navigator, which is probably that's a very, very important definition of Moor is navigator, or what you call the Navi. So we saw the film with the blue people. Forget the name of it right now. But they were called the Navi. And the Avatar is the name of it, Avatar. And they spoke an ancient Navi language. So that language that they were speaking in the film is actually supposed to be some of the words were actually from another real language that was spoken here in the Americas. So the Navi, and of course you can take a look at and see some of the similarities of the Navi in the film and the similarities of the science of the autochthonous people on the earth plane. So Moors is navigators of the seven seas. So we know about Moors being called the navigators of the seven seas, or the Navis, the navigators. So America, the term also refers to Mu or Meur or Mary. And this is very important to the people out there that tend to want to keep taking shots at Moors, calling them Moors foreigners or from someplace else. They're trying to make Moors be foreigners. That's the same thing that was done to get people to denationalize back from 1870 all the way basically up to 1945 till Drew Ali came in 1911 and kind of messed up the whole thing they was trying to do with getting everybody to drop more. He brought it back because it was underground, and he brought it back to the surface and then told you you're not Negro, Black, and colored. So a lot of people are taking shots saying that the word America, does not mean that, but yes, it does. America, Amaruka, Amuruka, Mary. So the ancient Americans were known by many names, but a lot of them referred to Moor and Muur. All right, and I'm going to show you one. This brother is using a word in a lot of his videos. He used to knock the Moors real bad. I haven't heard him say nothing lately, but he's using the word to describe us, and I'm going to show you what that word means. And when I show you what it means, I'm going to show it to you. When I show you what it means, you should get an idea of what this thing is really about. Right? All right, just remember what I told you. I'm going to show it to you. So anyway, America, Maury, the old word is the Americas, America, ancient Egypt of the west, Tamaria is Lower Egypt of the west. It is the original Egypt, that's misnomer. Okay, Egypt Greek, which is really Creek. It's really Creek, not Greek. All right, let's keep going. The ancient Tamarians, the ancient symbol is the hawk or the owl. The owl is the glyph of the ancient priesthood of Atlantis and later Egypt, Tamaria. It is known as Mu, the wise old owl, the symbol representing the Moors, the high priest of Anu, or Tamoria, the Moors. In this case, the priesthood of the ones holding the science to the known realms of the earth plane is the ancient symbol of the Uachat, which is also called pineal gland, also the Moor symbol, mistakenly called the eye horse. It's not the eye horse, it's the Uachat. The Uachat represents the open, active pineal gland, which can only provide enlightenment, positive vibrations to all that come near, if they request such. So a Moor should never be on no bullshit. Real ones. They should be basically trying to get back to the science, not religion, but get back to the science. And their frequency should be good. Moor also is a vibration. I think I mentioned that. I mentioned the vibration. America is also known as the land of the Moors. Talked about that. America is known as the land of the Moors, surrounding and encompassing at one time by Mu or connected to Mu. As a matter of fact, I believe the Americas is considered to be the North, South, Central America, and the Caribbean is considered to be the continent of Atlantis. The island of Atlantis supposedly sank, or maybe still there, or maybe partially submerged as well. So, but America was also known as Mortaria. Okay, it's a combination of Moors, Tartaria. This was the seat of the Tartarian Empire. It was ran from over here, even though it was a one Earth plane system. It was ran from the Americas, proven to be ran from the Americas already. They try and make it look like it's over in Russia. Oh no, it was over in Russia. No, that's just a part of it. It was ran from the Americas. Okay, known as Moor Tartaria, which is actually Tartaria, combination of Mu and Tartarian, which is Mauritania. So when you talk about Mauritania, look up the annexation of Texas to find the word Mauritania. They were calling parts of Texas Mauritania. The annexation of Texas. Tartarian also means westerly one. They ain't telling y'all that, huh? Tartarian means westerly one. As Al-Maghrib Al-Aqsam means furthest west. Okay, it means furthest west. I talk about that too and respond to Chief El Ra because he got it all jacked up. So I kind of had to help the brother out. But Al-Maghrib Al-Aqsam, it means furthest west. America, Amaruka, Amorica. Ika means land. You got the Moor in there, land of the Moor. Later, Al-Morocco. The original Morocco, America, was also known as Asia or Ausha, which is Washita. The Orient Moors and Moors are originally from the Americas, as the Muskogee. Muskogee, you got MOSQ, you got Muslim, M.O.S.L.E.M, which is an ancient lifestyle of the old ways, or the old time world, or the old world, which is the ancient world. Muslim is not a new word, that's an ancient word. That's why you don't hear it very much. And they're misusing it, trying to make it look like it means Muslim. No, Muslim is a new word. Muslim is the old word. Okay? Muslim has nothing to do with a religion, it's a lifestyle. So the ancient lifestyle of the old time ways, the old ways of a Muslim. So that's why when you read the writings of Drew Ali and others, they call us Muslims of the West. Even I talked about the word Mohammedan in the video I did on Soliman. Hit on that briefly. So Moor derives from the original melanin-rich nations of the Americas that operated as those beings of light, holding the ancient sciences of the known realm. Moor does not mean black person. So when you see the compound word of blackamoor, in that word, this is what Todd should have told the brother. Blackamoor is a compound word. It's two different words. So you can't have a compound word and the words mean two different things. So black cannot be Moor because it says blackamoor. It's like you're saying black. Oh, they were black. That don't make no sense. Okay. So the compound word is showing you what it's two separate words, two words combined. Black was the description of that Moor, and that could have been in a negative sense. And this is the other thing, because someone is calling somebody a blackamoor doesn't mean they're pale. We call each other, even though we know what the word black has a bad meaning, but we call each other black sometimes. Damn, he black. Because he's dark, he's way darker than you or darker than me, but look at me. Right? To other people, I'm black. I ain't black. But I'm just saying, so you got to be careful about people that's getting out there running their mouth. Oh, Moor just means black. No, the fuck it doesn't. Okay, if you look it up in a dictionary, it's going to show you it doesn't mean that, if you know how to read. So the compound word blackamoor showing you it don't mean black. Black is a description, and sometimes a wrong description, because nobody really is black. But it's a watered down secret society definition, because Noah Daniel Webster, actually, he was a Mason. He was a brother too. He was a dark-skinned brother. He changed the dictionary and meanings of words to put spells on people. That was what his job was to do. Noah Daniel Webster. Another one of us. See, you thought he was one of them, but nope. And he tricking you. So, just looking at my phone there, got a message. But anyway, Black is not an ancient term or word. It's High German, which is High German. High means just like a newer type of German. So it's not an old word. Uh-oh. Kemet means black. No, it's talking about the soil. It's talking about a river. It's not talking about the whole makeup of the people over there. So anyway, it's a High German word for low status, also known as bleak, which means to whiten or bleach. Black in law, all laws established by the original ancient Moors. Black equals death. Here lies the confusion by the changing of words by Webster's to confuse and divide. There's also another video out there saying that the Moors are the lords of death. They're the Lord. It means lords of death. It means death. Well, I see the Duke of Tears handle that. He just shut all that shit down quick for you. So you can pull that video up. How people keep taking punches at Moors, man. And every time they swing at a Moor, they're going to get hit back like 9 times. They getting hit and can't even see it. We got to go back, slow the video down to show people how many times they got hit. So, the term Moor and Muur would in fact unite all of the Homo sapiens sapient beings under one fig or olive branch, because this was already done in antiquity. The peak of Tartaria, this is what they was rocking. Everybody knew they was Moors. If you had melanin and you lived a certain way, we were all Homo sapiens, sapient, sentient beings. People talk about dodging a hijack and they don't even know what the fucking hijack was or is. They don't even know. They point some things out, but they don't know what the real dodging of the hijack is. Listen, we have what's called families, intermediate families. Then we have what's called the relative tribe. We have our tribes. And then we have a pedigree. What pedigree are you? Don't you want to be connected to the original thing? Or do you want to be some new thing walking around and you try to get away from a word that actually means something good? So this could actually unite all humanity under one fig of olive branch that was already done in the times of antiquity. The division of melanin-rich peoples has to do with accepting other titles of chattel, and thus abandoning your original vast estates and generational wealth as within the lands of the earth plane. Heaven or earth, free energy, electricity, high consciousness, eternal life have been done under various ancient worlds. The most recent proof is Moorish Tartaria. So the word spelled Moor at a certain time referred to various nations everywhere that pledged allegiance to the Moorish seat or empire. All Moors were not always in abeyance of the seat of the empire. Many went against the empire for various reasons, but they still carried the term Moor. Even if they was going against the originals, they still carried it. They pledged allegiance or abeyance, they still carried it. The world war of Moors against Moors, various nations went against the empire to establish their own, just like we do today. Families going at each other. And then they'll change the name. Oh, I'm not an Anderson, I'm Andrews. All right? Same situation, because you got beef with the real Andersons. You were a real one, but you got beef with it. So I'm mad at my mom or dad. Brother made me, they made me mad. So the brutes, aka the British Moors, became known as the British dictators. So they were not all for freedom or justice. Like the Moriscos, these are certain ones who pledged allegiance to other aspects. The Moors are converted to the side of the Vatican and formed various secret societies, enforced a system on nations using various methods. So we have to understand this, okay? Because a lot of times you got brothers that's out there posting pictures of anybody they think is a Moor, and it turns out they're posting some pictures of bad people that did bad things. That's on the bad side because they wanted to overthrow something or they wanted to take something and do something different with it. because they felt like they had the power to do it. So all of the people people just tend to post pictures and images, and they don't know the background of the pictures and images or the individuals. So we're talking about the Moors that converted to what was called, um, if this was even so, because I'm still working on this, but the Moors that converted to Muhammad's Islam, when that came at a certain time, that's not ancient. So, but that came at a certain time. Now they forced the system on various nations, and part of the forcing the system on various nations, even though some of it was they were giving something a system that needed to be put in place because people were what you would call of a low estate, and they needed to clean up shop. Sometimes you got to do the harsh thing. You got to come in knocking down stuff, tearing stuff up to reset it, to get it to work right. But a lot of that, some of that was done by force and by subjugation. So some of those things weren't good. Moors who ran the 13 colonies and tricked others into adhesion contracts to gain or take lands in vast amounts. And that was not good, but most of those Moors wanted you to drop the title. They wanted you to drop that word and use another word. So remember that, because you have people out there today saying you is not, telling you it's not this, it's not that, no, we not that, and I don't see, where can I find this word? And every time you start digging in the law, you see it. Every time you start digging in the law, you see it. So these are the same people that will not pick up a law book or read an ancient law book or read about an ancient treaty. Okay. Rome is the word Moor in reverse. Okay. It's the word Moor. More, Rome. Rome was founded on 7 hills. DC was founded on 7 hills, right? By Rome, Romulus, Remus, Murus, raised by wolf. The wolf is a symbol of the Anyawir. Okay. The only wolf clan in the world is the Chadagi. Okay. Anyawir is a wolf clan. I'm going to get into a few other things here, but I do want to show you the word. I want to show you the word Moor here on my. Pull up a picture for you here real quick, because like I say, I can't show you the file on StreamYard because it'll be too small. So this is a symbol of the wise old owl when I was reading to you earlier, hieroglyphs, the ancient priesthood of Anu. And you see the word Maur, and that is the ancient glyph, seer, watcher. Okay. It also says he who keeps a lookout on, okay, watching out over you. So that goes back to the ancient priesthood of Anu. It was really the word M, the letters MR, and the M is a combination of 2 pyramids. That's what the M glyph represents. And the pyramid is basically the ancient symbol of the Moorish nation. There's over 20,000 pyramids in Americas, more pyramids here than anywhere in the world. So I talked about the, here we go. More specific enlightened bloodlines, or those that come into the science of the ancients. Melanin is the battery pack to operate the opening of the pineal gland, the third eye, aka the all-seeing eye. That refers to the pineal gland. Now, the Moor symbol, the pyramid, did not have an eye on it. The rays coming from it. It was just a pyramid. Some other people put the eye on there because they doing some other shit they shouldn't be doing. Okay, but the pyramid is a symbol of the Moorish Empire. There's a reason why it's on the dollar bill too. That's another video. So when we talk about a brunette, we talked about a brunette, brown. That's a stamp of the Moorish ancestry. Keep that in mind. Complexion is the final and most obvious appearance. Timothy Drew, later given the title of Noble Drew Ali, was reintroducing the term Moor openly in public to a nation of people that had, at the time, the 1900s. I'm working on that right now. 1900 to 1933 was serious times, and Drew Ali was the only one that held the camp down. He was the only one. But he was reintroducing the term openly openly in public to a nation of people that had been convinced or tricked into dropping their title that basically took them back to the old world and helped them lay claim to the vast estate in the Americas. So I want to say emphatically to right here to a lot of the people that is. Let me finish reading this. So certain tribes in the Americas were still using the term Moor in private documents. I found one newspaper article in the early 1900s where it says the Moorish Indians or the Moor Indians. I got that. But anyway, Drew Ali had several teachers and instructors. They were all from the Americas. I covered that as well in the Soliman video. Drew Ali was also born into a bloodline of royalty that instructed him from his youth. So the word Moor Muur did not begin with Drew Ali. Like I say, that's just the most recent reference we find of someone bringing it to the surface. The Americas were using the term Moor and Muur in a lot of documents, but I want to say now emphatically to a lot of people that's been trying to discredit Drew Ali. And these are some of the same people that have videos about tribal information and America being the old world. And they have videos of saying Moors is not this, and it's not a tribe, it's not this, it's not that. These same people, they're teaching information that I was reading 30 years ago. And they're acting like it's something new. When Noble Drew Ali and brothers out of the Moor Science Temple and even other diasporas been teaching this for years. But what I want them to do is, since you have such a problem with Drew Ali, you got such a problem with Moors, but you know you're not black, nigger, on color, right? You know that, right? You keep saying that. You keep teaching people that. But you got a problem with Moors and Drew Ali. What I want you all to do to have a problem with him, or those of you who listen to these people, I want you to put them on the spot. Ask them one question. I'm about to ask them right now, but you ask them if you listen to them. Tell them to go find one person, individual, man, woman, chief, queen, king, from their nation, tribe, country, that started an organization or institution that were teaching people in public they were not Negro, blacks, and colors. And it was giving them back nationalities to claim land. That was at the time being snatched out from under them. But a lot of these people were able to go back and get it. So if they have such a big problem with that, you need to go back and find me one person from your tribe or your nation that was doing what Drew Ali did. Because we can't find nobody else during that time frame that held it down. We can't find nobody else. Y'all got some nerve, man. Y'all got some nerve. So it's either one of the two things. It's either you don't know or you know and you ain't saying shit. And you want some other shit. You're trying to get your people to do what the Moors been teaching already for 100 fucking years. And I get it. I don't like a lot of Moors. I don't like some of them brothers either. Okay? Some of them a little strange. But you're doing what they already been teaching and you ain't giving them no credit? The fuck is that? So I want to say this too right here. I want to show you something else. They want to talk about Drew Ali all day and try and knock everything. I already blew Abdul Samed Soliman. I already blew him out the water. And some of y'all said that was Drew Ali's teaching. BS. Do I need to go after Jamal Al-Ghani too to blow him out the water to show you that don't add up either? this is what I want to show you. This is from English and Dutch languages, a vocabulary of people names, geographical illustrations in two parts, English and Dutch, Dutch and English. I want to say it again. It is called the vocabulary of proper names, geographical illustrations in two parts, English and Dutch. Now, there's been a brother that's been using this word, and I'm going to show you the word first. And I'm going to show you what it means. Y'all see that? N-E-T-J-E. Okay? N-E-T-J-E. Y'all see that word, right? N-E-T-J-E. There's a brother out there using this word. I got respect for the brother because he's doing good work. He's exposing some things, and but we've been knowing what this word meant for a long time. Matter of fact, the proper word is Nichimo. 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 Nichimo, Nichimo. This is what that word means. You see that? Moor and Muur. Okay, you see that? Oh, they won't tell you what it means, Moor. He ain't gonna say that. He ain't gonna say that at all. Let me show it to you again so you'll see. Okay. So let me continue with some things on the word Moor, going back to the original Homo sapiens, sapien, sentient being. There are numerous treaties and documents between the United States and Moors. You can look up some of the treaties. Taj Tariq Bey is a good source to contact to find out some of the treaties. It talks about the Moors, and some of those treaties, remember this, they added 580 years to the calendar. So a lot of the documents are a lot older. Some of them are newer. They've offset the time frame several times. They just did it recently after COVID. Don't you know that a minute is no longer 60 seconds anymore? So they've changed the time frame several times. But there was another brother that talked about the Moors being Muslims out of Spain. You got to be careful about the Moor. You got to be careful about that because some of that's been done on purpose because they're trying to put Moors under the jurisdiction of religion, and the Vatican runs all religions, and therefore now you're under the jurisdiction of the Vatican. Okay? Moor does not mean Muslim. They're using that word improperly. But Drew Ali specifically called Moors, Mohammedans, Muslims of the West. Nowhere in any writings did Drew Ali say we are Muslims or even suggest such. People in the Moor Science Temple know this. They know that the Temple of Islam, before the Nation of Islam, came from Elijah Muhammad, who left the Moor Science Temple along with Minister Fordell, which was Master Farrar. That's one. It was two or three of them. But they left and started teaching something that Drew Ali didn't teach. And a lot of the Moors know that. A lot of Muslims know that too. But this is where you get the confusion of the two. And Drew Ali was teaching Islam. No, he wasn't. He was teaching Islam Master. He was teaching the ancient ways of the old world, a lifestyle. He wasn't teaching Muhammad's religion from Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Some of those places didn't even exist in the 1900s, let alone ancient times, over there. But anyway, following are a few words that refer to Moors in America that refer to Moors and Muurs. Mohicans is the word Mohawkans. Mohawkans. Moor priests, Moroccans. Mohammedans, going back to Metacomet, talked about Metacomet in another video. Mohawk is Mohawk. I had a gentleman from Connecticut explain that years ago. And it was a debate going on, and he interrupted and he said the word Mohawk is the word Mohawk. And he says he used to see it written in documents, and it was just Muhawk. Mohawk. You tell Indians that today, boy. You tell some of these people that today, they think you're making shit up. Mexico is Mecca. Exile lands of Mecca, that's the real Mecca, Mexico. Winnebago is in Bago. Nagab, also in Bago. Montezuma, called the Moorish king in 1621. That's in the book called the Caracahua Indians, coastal people of Texas. In the same book, Moor was replaced with the word Indian in 1780. Moor was replaced with the word Indian in 1780. Moor was replaced with the word Indian in 1780. Top cat. Moor was replaced with the word Indian in 1780. Chief Tallahassee, known as the Moorish Prince, or Mu Prince. Chief Tammany, Moor Prince in 1820 documents. Las Vegas is the name of Nagas, or Las Nagas, which is a city that's underneath Vegas, still there. Chief Tecumseh is a Moorish prince in 1800 documents. Chief Tuscaloosa is called the Moorish Giant. Talked about Metacomet. The Caribs of the Caribbean. The Caribs. Caribs, Arabs, Caribs, Caribbean, Arabian. Caribbean is the original Arabia. All seaports with the name the name Bay, later changed to BAY, under the authority of a Bay, BEY, which basically is an enforcer, the executive branch of the Moorish government. The Bays were the executive branch. The L's were the legislative branch. California Khalifa, Moorish Prince. Moorish Princess Island Khalifa. It was an island at one time. We have Maricopa, which is Muricopa, Coco, Peli, Bay Coco. We have Florida's original island, Andalusia, a territory which is old Spain, and the territory extended all the way from Florida, almost all the way into California. That was a territory of Florida, the territory of Al-Andalusia. We have what's called the Moori of the Philippines, after King Philip. It's a Metacomet. And the islands that people used to refer to themselves as the Moros. And I did talk to a older Filipino who mentioned that they were told not to use the word Moros because it referred to people who actually held estates, and some of those people were being sought out by Jesuit orders, Jesuit groups at certain times. They wanted to find out who owned the land. So people stopped. What did the sister say? What's her name? I forget this warhorse. Oh, I ain't never heard the word Moor. We ain't never heard that. You don't think they might have been trying to hide it from me? Because my son, who's fairly young, asked me what a colored person was. He never heard that till recently. But anyway, let's keep going. There's a lot of towns and countries that have the Moor phonics word in 40, 50 something towns and counties in the Americas. The title Washita is a Washita or Washita. Ausha is also the word Washita, which is Asia, because this was also known as Asia. It was also known as India at one point in time, because territories in the Americas is known as India. We have Nova Scotia, which is Scotia, Scots or Scotland. We got Canada, which is known as Canaan's land. We have Croatia, I talked about that earlier, Croatan Indians, that was a territory. And this is the things that a lot of people out there don't know when they start calling people foreigners, like Moors are foreigners. Because you read about somebody being from Spain or France, not knowing about the exotic maps and territories of the ancient Americas. I mentioned Transylvania, Pennsylvania, France, Fox, F-A-U-X, which is Fox, F-O-X, the Fox Indian Territory, which was Fox, which was Franks, which was the French Indian War. You sure they ain't talking about the same people? Or did they make it look like somebody came from someplace else and had a battle? How they come from way over there, come over here, running through everybody? We got to start thinking. Okay. Once again, let me tell you that brother too that said that Moors are foreigners that came in and sided with the Europeans and helped the Europeans overthrow the indigenous people. Then how come the fuck Moors ain't rolling? They should be having a whole lot of land, a whole lot of money. They should be making it rain everywhere they go. We can go see who owns the land now. Or the false piece of paper they have that shows that they think they own it. But where's all the melanated people at that helped them? They should be wrong. Where they at? They damn sure ain't using the word Moor to describe themselves, are they? See, that's just some blatant bullshit. You don't understand what the hijack really was and how it really happened. Let's continue. Spain, the land of the rock hooray, which is called it's a Phoenician word. Spain is a Phoenician word. Spain is a Phoenician word. Phoenician. Ancient Phoenicia. That was in the Americas also. Then we have the Iberian Peninsula. And you also have the Iberia Peninsula. You have a place that's called Iberia, Missouri. You know, they got a nice little museum in Iberia, Missouri, right outside. You might want to go check it out. You also have New England and Old England. And just real quick, there's a gentleman that goes by the name of Argyle, like, you know, the Argyle socks. Argyle was hired by the throne of England to find a quicker route to the New World from Europe. Think about that. There's only one way. That's across the sea. From England, the New World from England, unless the territory of England was on the East Coast. Now there's various ways to get down into the New World, which would have been across the proclamation line. Now it makes sense. So we got to start thinking about the exotic maps of the Americas. We're going to talk about the Atlantean god, all right? Egyptian deity, Atlantean god from the Americas. That would be Ptah, who was an Atlantean god, which is basically from the Americas. Ptah Judah is from the Americas, but because the territory was known as Ptah, Utah. Judah territory, which covered Mexico and several states, California, Utah, Nevada, Arizona, Oklahoma, Missouri, Missouri, Texas. And additionally, Ptah was also the chief god of Luxor in Memphis, Tennessee. Of course, Luxor was in Memphis, which is why they put that pyramid down there in Memphis a while ago. So once again, we also have Egypt is once the capital of the world. In fact, the Pharaoh gave the ancient Moabites, which is the Moors from Moab. Remember that, talking about people within the same territory. Permission to settle in Morocco, which is India, because when you Google Morocco, Indiana, it will tell you that it was founded in 1851 based off the Morocco in North Africa. The only problem is Morocco in North Africa wasn't founded until 1956. 1956 is when they actually got their independence from the French. But that's just a little something on understanding that some of the information that you've been told when you hear foreign names and territories, you got to ask yourself, which one are they talking about, or where actually was it? When you hear France, Spain, Germany, Europe. Also, if you read the Bible in Genesis 1:14, another definition of the word Moor, it's going to be spelled M-A-O-R. It's a Hebrew term for the word light or light being, and that word is the word Moor, M-A-O-R, like Mayor. All right, I want to proceed with some more stuff on the exotic maps and the meanings of names. Utah. Utah is a group of 4 gods with hidden arms. Missouri, Missouri, Royal Sun. Alabama, Alumba, in the presence of Allah. Mississippi, Isis Shrine, Shrine of Isis. Texas, Techisaw, the 7 divine masters of wisdom. Iowa is Jah, Jah the Great. Minnesota, Men's, the Egyptian king of the first dynasty, composed of Sata, which is basically Min Sata. It is a group of gods who ruled over the South. Manhattan was Menaten. Raten. You have Tennessee, Tanis. Memphis, Memphata. That's Kamasha, Egypt. Okay, you got Tallahassee. Tallahassee, that means Allah will rule, or Allah will conquer. And Allah basically is talking about all the laws, all laws, all laws. Law is land, air, water, sun. That's what that word really means. You go back to a lot, it doesn't come out of a lot, it comes out of all laws, which has to do with science. Land, air, water, and sun, how things really work. Nebraska, that's Nabraska, the word of God. Kansas is Arabic for Kansa, means treasure. The Arabic we speak today, that you hear today, is a slang language. It's not the original one. The original one sounds a lot different. So we have Albany, which means sons of the builders. Okay? Philadelphia, and this was named by the ancient, listen to this, it was named by the ancient Moorish Israelites. Moorish Israelites? Moorish Israelites? What's that brother's name to be talking about Dodger hijack all the time? Moorish Israelites? See, you think the Moors are like just Islamic peoples from Arab, someplace. A Moor has nothing to do with religion. It can be any religion. It's not a religion. Okay. And it says Philadelphia was named by the ancient Moorish Israelites who wrote down the Septuagint for Ptolemy. And those of you in the biblical research know about the Septuagint. So let me proceed on. Okay, they put that on there. All this was added on there. The Novus Orsicorum, of course, the I wasn't on there. The I is not a part of the symbol. And then we have the Ethiopian Solomonic crest. Okay. But in this, you also have what's called Moa. It's called Moa Abasuza. In the Greek, Yabua, which means a conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. Except for they take off the word M-O-A, Moa, which is the Moorish conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. Remember that King James was called the Moorish king, like a lot of the other ones. But they just keep removing that word, man. They keep taking it out for some reason. See the word Moor. There. Moor. They be removing stuff out of documents. Good thing we keep some of the old stuff, man. There's cats out here that's been doing it for years. And you new cats thinking y'all coming with some information. By the way, the same brother that was using the word Nietzsche recently said he was showing a video. It was a good video. That was funny. But there was a lady that was teaching some law and some jurisprudence and some information on things. And he said it was his information. It's like, nah, bro. Sorry, but once again, you may have said the same thing and found it. But there's this brother named Jonah Bay. And there's another brother, we brought Jonah Bay out here like 14 years ago. Who taught us that and told us where he got it from. And there's this other brother named Yusuf El. They've been around for a while teaching what you thought was your information. Moors have been teaching that for a long time. But not knocking you, brother. You're still doing good with what you're doing. So, okay, I wanted to mention this to you here. Well, that kind of deals with some more science and some other things y'all ain't ready for. So let me keep that to myself. So once again, we're going to tell you why the Moors use the name, add the names El, Bay, Al, Ali, Day, Shabazz at one time, and even Muhammad, which basically Muhammad was spelled differently. It was spelled M-A-H-M-O-T. It's not spelled Muhmaad. Mahmot. It's the reason why it's spelled totally different then than it is now, because they're talking about two different things. It's not what you think it was. So the L, the reason why the Moors add the L's to the names, L is the Tuscarora or the Iroquois. The Iroquois Confederacy was known as the Moorhan Confederacy. Moorhan Confederacy. Bay is the Choctaw Washita. Al is the Seminole. Ali is the Creek of the Muskogee. Ali has to be given. That's a title that has to be earned. Day is a Chickasaw. Shabazz at one time was the Lenape. It was pronounced different. The Nantucket, the Mulian, and of course the Mahmot was what's called the Ben Ismail tribe, which basically they dominated the Midwest for quite some time. So these are why the Moors add the L's, Bays, the Owls, the Days, the Lenape, and the Mahmot, which is the Ben Ishmael. These all refer to tribes in the Americas. So it is very interesting that we have people out there that keep trying to go at the Moors as being foreigners, or working with people, Europeans, to overthrow the indigenous people when the Moors are the autochthonous people from the earth realm. Plain, anywhere they go, they're home, especially the Americas. But it's funny that we got people that keep doing that, and they don't know this. They just think it's some religious stuff. And they keep making assumptions and repeating information they ain't even looked at. They ain't even asked no questions. And when they ask questions, like I just saw the video with the brother talking to Taj, he was asking questions to try and get more fuel for his fire. So Taj, you gonna say so they foreigners, right? You gonna say they're foreigners, right? Taj said, how you gonna, when did we become here? I saw the video. Can we find some genuine people that want genuine answers? Let's get down and make it right. You niggas got too many agendas, man. So this is from the questionnaires that Drew Ali came out with. And we can break down everything in that picture. Okay, let me show that to you again. Okay, see how he's carrying the woman? She ain't on the ground. The Masons got her on the ground. And you see that one of her on the ground, the resurrection of the Moor Science Temple, which was written by some Masons. Masons all up in that one. That's not what Drew Ali was doing. He carrying her. Moors. Then we have this one. Okay, that's that Moorish King Montezuma. And by the way, that was not Mansa Musa that became Montezuma. Mansa Musa became Quetzalcoatl, which is just a title. It's a title. Anybody could have been Quetzalcoatl. He didn't become Montezuma. Whoever put that out is one was in the 1200s and the other one was born in the 1400s. Maybe he could have been 178 years old. Maybe. No. Let me show it to you again. You know what's funny is when I talk to a lot of what you would call $5 Indians, a lot of them know who we are. And when I say I'm a Moor, it's all love. I want to show you the national headdress of the Bays, the national headdress of the enforcers, the executive branch. Pay close attention. Look at the brother that's holding the flag up. I got him circled for you cats to be trying to hate on the Moors. I got a circle that y'all be talking about. Oh no, they foreigners. They're not. Look at the headdress on the back. Because that's what we used to wear. But what happened is when certain things shifted and things happened in time, they went from wearing the headdress of the executive branch because that's what was attacked, and they started rocking what you would call the tarbouche or the halo or the national headdress of the Fez, which is from the Americas. It's indigenous to the Americas, not from anywhere else, from here. It goes way back. So they just start wearing the one of the L's, which is the legislative branch, because the executive was under attack. And then the fake $5 one started wearing that. And they're not even wearing it the right way. And I've seen some of you put it on out there, and y'all not even wearing it the right way. But I want to point this out to y'all chiefs. The brothers is calling yourself chiefs. The word chief has a couple different origins. Shake a Chief, Shake a Mexim. And you also have what was called the Sharifian Empire. And the word Sharifian was spelled with a Chief. Sharifian. That's the Moorish Empire. And the Sharifian Empire is mentioned to be in the Americas several different times. And it's mentioned in several treaties. The Sharifs or the sheriffs are the true people of the law on the land. Sharifian. Chief. You rocking the Moorish title and you going at Moors, which is treason. So drop the chief. Call yourself, I don't know, Orlando Brown or something. I don't know, make up a name. So any questions anybody want to build? Like I said, I'm responding to people. So hope I didn't offend anybody. If I did, it was for you. But let's get it right. Let's get together. Let's build. And Moors are from the Americas originally. They're autochthonous to the land. It does not mean Muslim. It does not mean Mason. It does not mean Christianized Islamic Moor or whatever the hell they're trying to say it means. Does not mean black. It means you are a descendant of the original Homo sapiens, sentient being that goes back to the old world, connecting you to a landmass as the original navigators, landlords, the whole nine. Original people out of triple stage darkness that possess melanin in your pineal gland can be activated, is not calcified. Don't you want to be that? Or do you want to listen to people that just keep reading information and not comprehending any of it? Yell and dodge the hijack and don't know what the fuck the hijack really was or is. They can't even tell you what ancient Andalusia really was, or Iberia, or France. Anyway, I leave you with these words, man. Love and light. Holla at me. Let's build. I'm be coming at Marcus Garvey's ass next, showing you he was a fraud. We about to get on that Pan-Africanism stuff next. We're going to blow that out the water because it's time. Peace, love, and light.